We're never going to give up. We felt that there was always a need for this. We invested a lot of time, effort, and money to build this building 41 years ago. My dad said, let's build a party center. And I said, where are we going to do that? And he says, I don't know, but give me 48 hours and I'll find a spot.
Welcome to episode 70 of the LoraineCounty.com Insights Podcast. I'm your host, Ed Skimmon. Before we dive in, I'd like to thank the LoraineCounty.com champion sponsors who made this podcast and so many community initiatives possible. Lorain County Commissioners, Emerge Inc., Lorain County Community College, Community Foundation of Lorain County, WOBL Radio, and Lorain County JVS. Today, we're talking with Cliff German, President and CEO of German's Villa in Vermilion. Join us as Cliff reflects on the evolution of his family business, from primarily hosting weddings to serving a wide variety of community events, and how German's Villa adapted during the COVID-19 pandemic through catering and meal preparation. He highlights the importance of resilience, community involvement, and building a family-oriented culture, while also sharing his personal insights on success, dedication, and his deep ties to Vermilion. Beyond being a respected entrepreneur and event host, Cliff is a passionate supporter of Vermilion High School athletics. If you attend a Sailors game, you will likely hear his voice on the microphone, announcing the game and celebrating the student athletes. I've been fortunate enough to know Cliff for many years. Since the late 1980s, I've attended countless weddings, political gatherings, and fundraisers at German's Villa. More recently, I've been there for the Lorain Sports Hall of Fame ceremonies and have taken my mom to Lakeland Women's Club luncheons at German's. Cliff always seems to be present, greeting people with warmth and energy. Each conversation that I have with Cliff reinforces just how much he means to Vermilion and Lorain County. Recording this episode was no exception. Here is my conversation with Cliff German.
My name is Cliff German. I'm the President and Chief Executive Officer of German's Villa Enterprises that's been here in Vermilion for over 41 years now.
Welcome, Cliff. Thanks for joining us and sharing your insights. Could you provide an overview of German's Villa?
Yes, it's an event center. That's how we started it out. Primarily in 1984-85 when we opened. Weddings were the big thing, certainly. As with any other business, things have changed over the last 41 years. Weddings aren't the primary staple here anymore. Actually, I don't know that there is a primary staple in this business anymore. So we're into fundraisers, celebration of life, anniversaries, baptisms, graduation parties. Yeah, you throw it all in. We do a lot of food going out, catering out. We don't necessarily cater out, but people will order half pans of this and that, and they'll pick it up.
Did it start over COVID, or were you doing it before?
When COVID hit, we did not have one event for a whole year, not one event. It almost did us in. That was as tough as it gets for an event center. And we looked at it early on as we were moving into COVID. We said, what are we going to do? I've got to keep my key players working for me. I got to keep them. If I let them go, I'll never get them back. So we began by making meals to pick up here at the end of the day, lunches or meals. We started off, I think we were making 5 or 6 meals a day. And when it ended, we were doing well over 250 meals a day. So it really took off for us. Thank goodness people supported us. Of course, you always have to give people a reason to support your business. So you had to give them plenty to eat. You had to always be good food. Tried to keep it hot, although a lot of them were taking it all home. So probably most of them had to warm it up when they got there. But those are certainly basic things that you need to keep in mind as you're trying to change the face of your business, which is what we had to do. We started that with the honey glazed ham business. After we were here a few years, we do honey glazed hams, honey glazed turkeys here. We sell a lot of those. We're not honey baked. We're honey glazed. We do it ourselves here. We spiral slice them. We honey glaze them. We process them here. But we decided we needed to do something additional to improve our business, to keep our kitchen working. Of course, if you look around, there's not a lot of party centers, event centers around anymore. DeLuca's is gone. U-Center's gone. Garga's Hall is gone. Fontainebleau is gone. I could go on and on. Tom's Country Place is still here. I know the Rickovic family very well. We're very good friends. They're about the only ones that are still around. So that's what we've done over the course of years. And we do that probably every week. Look to evaluate where are we at, what are we doing, what more can we do, what other directions can we go. In the last year, we've probably gotten a lot more into celebration of life. after funerals and stuff. And that business is really taken off for us. So we're pleased with that. We consider ourselves the fundraising capital of the North Coast. Lots of fundraisers. We have good times with that, although some of them are pretty sad, depending on what the fundraiser may be. We've had some children here that needed help. Some of those can be pretty tough. So we just had a fundraiser for a gentleman Saturday. Terrific gentleman, for the person here in Vermilion that did everything for Vermilion. Everything. And he died, but his family needed help, and we had over 400 for that. Those are some of the things we do here to try to keep us busy.
What do you think set you apart? What was unique about your business that made you survive all these years when some of the others didn't?
First of all, we're never going to give up. We felt that there was always a need for this. We invested a lot of time, effort, and money to build this building. My dad and I built this building 41 years ago. My dad said, let's build a party center. And I said, where are we going to do that? And he says, I don't know, but give me 48 hours and I'll find a spot. And that was my dad. He didn't let any grass grow underneath his feet. 48 hours later, he called me. He says, I found a property in Vermilion, Ohio. My comment was, Vermilion, Ohio? Holy moly, you got to be kidding me. And so we came out, we looked at it. There was 13 acres at the time. And so we bought the 13 acres and we built Germans and away we went. First couple of years, I wouldn't go through that again for all the tea in China. Nobody knew we were here. Vermilion at that time certainly was not on the beaten path. We had no money to advertise. We had to be creative, resourceful. There was no internet. We use the internet a lot now. Facebook, Twitter, X, to do a lot of advertising with. And that's worked out very well for us, and we'll continue to do that. But what separates us probably, what's kept us going probably, like I said, we're not going to quit. We enjoy what we do. We truly, with all my heart and soul, I still enjoy what I do after 41 years. Do I get tired? I do get tired. There's 18 and 20-hour days, lots of times. And I do get tired, but I enjoy the people. I love the people. And even through the tough times, I was never raised where, well, okay, let's just cash in our chips and go home. I was never taught that. I played 3 sports at Admiral King. I'm in 3 Hall of Fames, and I'm very proud of that.
What were your 3 sports?
3 sports was football, wrestling, and baseball.
Okay.
And then I went to Miami, Ohio to play baseball down there with a coach that was at Admiral King. He came in right out of college. That's a sort of a neat thing, from Miami of Ohio. Back then, I had 700 in my graduating class. So when you go out for freshman baseball, there was 200 and some kids that came out for baseball. So I got cut. I said, oh my goodness. About a week later, the coach called my house up because he was looking for a catcher. And so he was asking the kids. He didn't know kids. He was just right out of Miami of Ohio. He didn't know many people. So he said, hey, I need a catcher. And they said, well, you already cut the best catcher in Lorraine. And he said, who was that? He said, well, Cliff German. So he called me. And I told my dad, I'm not going back. He already cut me once. And my dad said, get in the car. Okay, my dad didn't mumble or stumble when he talked, okay? When he said, we're going to do this, that's what we did. That sort of started things out for me. I said, I learned a lesson there. And somebody likes of that stature and magnitude calls and wants you to do something, you better think hard about saying no to that. We don't say no to anything here, anything. People call and say, how about doing this or that? As long as no one's going to get hurt and we can maybe help someone. And sometimes that takes precedence over profit. And I'm okay with that. We've been here, like you said, 41 years, and we worked real hard for the schools and the community. I think that's what separates us and has kept us going for all these years.
Germansville is known for the food. What are your most popular and signature dishes that you serve?
Certainly our honey glazed ham and honey glazed turkey, our paprikash, our stuffed cabbage, our prime rib, our spaghetti. I mean, our spaghetti with the marinara sauce that we make here and the big, huge meatballs. We had over 400 people here, and people were telling me all night, man, that's the best spaghetti they ever had. I think we have a lot of different things, but certainly for weddings and stuff, the honey glazed ham and turkey is very popular. It's all good and fresh, nothing's frozen. So those are some of the key items, I would think.
I'm sure your staff is critical to your success. How do you attract and retain quality employees, and what's the work culture like here?
I'm very blessed. I've got people that have been with me for 35 years or more. I think because we're a family. My wife's worked here for many years. My kids worked here. In fact, my one son, Mike, was probably going to run Germans at some point in time. And 6 years ago, he passed away. So I just continue to do it. I think because we're a family. We all work hard. No one works harder than I do, I don't think. And I beat everyone here, and usually I'm the last one to leave. But my chef and my people in the office, they've all been with me here, and I think they feel it's a good place, a good wholesome place, good family place to work. We treat everyone here like we want to be treated. And I've got 4 or 5 people who've been with me over 30 years. I think that speaks well to how we work with people and how to treat people. And we do that with our customers too. And when I talk to customers, I think they can relate to the fact that when I say I'm going to be here and I'm going to take care of you, most of them believe that. I don't let people down.
How do you define success at Germans? What are the metrics and outcomes that matter to you?
You have to take care of the people. When people are in here looking for party, they all have my phone number. They can call me at midnight, and a lot of them do. So, and I tell them, if you're going to go out and have something to eat and you're with a group of people and you're talking about the wedding or whatever event you're coming on and you have a question, call me or text me. So I'm available to people 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I avail myself to them. I don't want people having to say, well, I'll try to remember and call him tomorrow. I just don't believe in that. I believe you have to live the business. I live it. And if I don't know who's calling me, I don't answer the phone. But I think that's absolutely key, Ed. You got to live it. You got to enjoy it, and I do. And I think people pick up on the energy and the excitement that I still have even after 41 years.
What are the biggest opportunities for Germansville on the horizon?
To see where the economy goes. What's working for us now may not work for us 6 months from now. When we first built Germans, there was no doubt that weddings were the primary key to success. There was DeLucas and Gargas Hall and Fontainebleau and the Oberlin Inn and the Lorraine Party Center. And it was all weddings, and then there was weddings. That philosophy has diminished over the years. There's still weddings, but they go to barns now. They go outside sometimes. And you have no idea how many calls I get a day before their wedding. They booked it outside somewhere, but the weather's not going to be good. So now they want to come to Germans. Normally we're booked a year ahead of time on our Saturdays. So generally I can't help them, although I'd like to. But as far as what's coming up, I wish I had a crystal ball to know that. But whatever that is, we're going to work to take advantage of that. And like I said, we're in the celebrations of life now. We're certainly big into fundraising, and that's remained consistent over the last 10 to 15 years. Graduation parties, we do a lot of proms here. So we're just going to keep working hard and see what's going to happen with the economy. The economy is a big thing. It started happening before COVID, although I hope I never have to go through that again, because I never thought that I would ever see those type of days and what our nation went through. That was just terrible. And as a small business, a lot of them didn't survive that. And we could have done that too. Everybody was calling, when am I going to pay my taxes? Oh, when am I going to pay my real estate and my insurance? And I kept saying, hey, I don't have the money to do that. I just don't. If you want to come get it. But the tax people didn't want it. Okay, insurances didn't want it. So everybody hung with me. And of course, we paid everyone back once everything came in. But to make a long story short, I don't know what's going to happen 5 or 10 years from now, but whatever it is, we're going to be here, good Lord willing. And as long as our health holds up, we're going to keep doing that.
With over 40 years of event planning experience, what piece of advice would you give someone planning a wedding, fundraiser, or a large event?
You want to find someone that's got some experience. There's places that are opening up, and I hear some horror stories. I look for someone that enjoys what they're doing. They're going to be there for you, and they're going to help you. They're going to make recommendations to you. We don't do everything here. I'm not a disc jockey, but we're going to recommend people that I know is going to do a good job for you. Same thing with photographers and limousine drivers and all this. We have a library full of the good ones. You want to get your date picked out right away. There's 2 things, your church, certainly, and the reception facility. Those are 2 key things. Once you get that, everything else should fall into place. And you've got to feel comfortable that you can call those people at any time to assist you, to guide you, to help you, because they're not used to it. They've got lots of questions, and the questions we hear from people that are having weddings or events here are the same questions we heard 40 years ago. They haven't changed, but they're not used to it, and you have to show patience and understanding and say, okay, here's how you want to do that. But the date, if you're going to use the church and the reception halls, 2 key things that you got to feel comfortable with both of them.
Let's switch over and talk a bit about you. I know you're very active in the community and with Vermilion schools, sometimes referred to as Mr. Vermilion. Can you talk about your engagement in the community and schools and why it's important to you?
Schools have always been important to me. And I graduated from Admiral King High School in 1967. And like I said earlier, we had 700 in my graduating class. and we knew everyone. Everyone knew us. And it was a great time to grow up in Lorain. I wanted to be a teacher. When I went to Miami of Ohio, I came out. When I graduated, I went to Irving Junior High School, and I taught 1 year there. Ed Syndergaard was the athletic director. And I know you remember Ed.
Yeah, absolutely.
A guy named Hank Orban was the principal. Ed Branham, a wonderful friend of mine, he was teaching history at the time. And he was my assistant football coach, and he was the head basketball coach. But I got to know people like that, and I loved it. But I coached 3 sports. Football, I was the head coach, and we won the citywide championship for the first time in 35 years at Irving when I was there. I coached wrestling, and I coached track with Ed, and I taught, and I grossed $7,000 that year, okay? So I decided that wasn't how I was going to be able to make my living. And my wife was thankfully working at Richmond Brothers in Cleveland. She was making a whole lot more money than I did, so I figured I better look for something else. Went to Atlanta first and came back and went to work for U.S. Steel and was a shipping manager. And then I worked all over throughout the entire plant, was in purchasing and sales. I know you find it hard to believe, but I was in sales for a while, and I love that. I could sell ice cubes to the Eskimos, but that was a great thing to do. After we built Germany, we moved here. I didn't want to teach or coach, but I wanted to be a part of the school. So when I came here, after a very short period of time, I was listening to them, and they had kids announcing baseball and basketball, football, whatever. And I took broadcasting at Miami when I was down there, and I thought, I think I can do better than the kids do. That was 41 years ago, and I still do it now. I do it for all the sports, wrestling and track, baseball, football, every sport. And volleyball, which has certainly become very big now. They call me the voice of Vermilion. I enjoy that, certainly. But I have a good time, and my children were all involved in sports, and gosh, how neat was that for me to be announcing when they were participating. I have 10 grandchildren. They all participate in activities. I'm down to the last one now. He's an 8th grader. Everybody else graduated. But it was great to see them come through, all Vermilion. I'm blessed because they're all here. I've enjoyed being a part of it, and I substitute teach now a couple days a week. I enjoy being around the kids. They all know me. I enjoy teaching them and just going through things with them and the announcing part of it. I think it's just the interaction with children and even their parents. The people part of it is so critically important to me.
It's got to be fun to see generation after generation of people you announce.
Yes, certainly I had kids that I announced, and now I'm announcing their kids. And that's a lot of fun to see them. And I look at them, and some of their parents were not near as good athletes as they say they were. And I remember that, but I don't say anything, you know. Oh, man, I was the greatest lineman. And I don't remember that, but okay, whatever you say, you know. So that's not all bad either, I guess. But that's exciting.
Outside of Germans and your work in the community, what other interests and hobbies do you have, and how do they help recharge you?
The community, certainly, I'm in the chamber, I'm in the Rotary Club, I'm in the Lions Club. I was in Kiwanis, and they disbanded for a while. They're coming back now, and I may join that. I don't know that there's too many organizations that I'm not a part of in Vermilion. I've cut back on attending some of the meetings because I've had some health issues in the last couple of years. It's dealing with people, helping people. I enjoy working with Lucy Idle here in town. I used to fish. I used to hunt. I used to play golf. But when we built Germansville, all that sort of went away. I just didn't think there was a lot of time to do that. I'm so competitive. Yeah, I didn't like going out playing golf and not doing well. And the golf is a sport you got to play.
Yeah.
Okay, if you don't play that, you're not going to get any better. So I didn't want to play 6 or 8 times a week and that type of thing. I go back and start fishing and doing things like sure I could. But I enjoy the people part of it probably more than I do sitting out in a boat by myself.
Where can people go to get more information and connect with you?
I'm not hard to find, okay? But they certainly can call the office here, Germansville, at 440-967-1770. You can get a hold of me on social media. I'm blessed. I have over 5,000 friends on my social media account. You can message me, and I get messages all day long. The only one thing I won't do is if you call and I don't have your number, and I've got a lot of numbers, if I don't have your number and it says unknown caller, I don't answer the phone. Way too many salesmen call, but I'm not hard to find, not hard to get a hold of. If you get a hold of me and you need something, we will help you any way that we can.
Thanks, Cliff, for joining us and sharing your insights.
You're so very welcome, Ed. Thank you so much. You guys have a great day.
Thank you for listening to the LoraineCounty.com Insights Podcast. Each episode, we share conversations with the people shaping life in Lorain County, from business and government to education, nonprofits, healthcare, and entertainment. Be sure to follow or subscribe on your favorite podcast platform so you never miss an episode. You can also visit LoraineCounty.com to discover local events, volunteer opportunities, and more community resources. If you know someone who's making a difference in Lorain County, send us a note at podcast@LoraineCounty.com. We would love to share their story and insights. Special thanks to our producer, Leah Gerke, and to you for listening. This has been the LoraineCounty.com Insights Podcast, conversations with the people shaping Lorain County.